But to continue on infrastructure, Congressman Kucinich, we're here tonight in this beautifully and recently renovated Soldier Field, partially renovated due to about $400 million in taxpayer money. Should state and local, and in some cases by proxy anyway, federal governments subsidize private businesses like sports teams by building them stadiums when perhaps that choice is being made at the expense of infrastructure and bridges?
I've actually been involved in that argument for many years, and I think that, here's what I said in Cleveland. Instead of spending $400 billion or more for a stadium, why don't we just buy the team? I mean, really, you know, that's where the money is. So I think that we ought to be talking about an approach that gives people a return for their investment. Now, with respect to infrastructure, for the third time, I've introduced a bill. This time it's H.R. 3400. It's a bipartisan bill. Congressman LaTourette of Ohio is with me on it. Here's what it'll do. It'll create millions of new jobs, rebuilding America's infrastructure, rebuilding roads, water systems, sewer systems, bridges. I've been on this for many years. It will create jobs for laborers, for iron workers, for carpenters, for people who are involved in infrastructure. Millions of new jobs, and create a federal bank of infrastructure modernization. Now, the time to talk about infrastructure is a little bit late after Katrina. It's a little bit late after the bridges fall in Minneapolis. But I've been there, and I understand the implication. Why do you need an infrastructure? You need an infrastructure so you can create a basis for jobs. I want a new American manufacturing policy where the maintenance of steel, automotive, aerospace, and shipping is seen as vital to our national security. And I want to see America take a new direction in trade as part of this, and that means it's time to get out of NAFTA and the WTO and go and have trade that's based on workers' rights, the right to organize, the right to collective bargaining, the right to strike, the right to decent wages and benefits, and on and on. I'm here as the workers' candidate.
Thank you, Congressman. Congressman Kucinich, scrap NAFTA or fix it.
You asked a direct question. I think it deserves a direct answer. In my first week in office, I will notify Mexico and Canada that the United States is withdrawing from NAFTA. I will notify the WTO we're withdrawing from the WTO. We need a president who knows what the right thing is to do the first time, not in retrospect. And I think that we need to go back to trade, we need to go forward to trade that's based on workers' rights, human rights, and environmental quality principles. No one else on this stage could give a direct answer because they don't intend to scrap NAFTA. We're going to be stuck with it, and I'm your candidate. If you want to get out of NAFTA, let's hear it. Do you want out of NAFTA? Do you want out of the WTO? Tell these candidates. Listen to the workers. Listen to the voices of the workers of America.
Congressman, forgive me.
Thank you.
28% of those surveyed in the latest NBC Wall Street Journal poll perceive China as an ally. More than half this nation views China as an adversary. Which do you think it is, ally or adversary, sir? Congressman Kucinich.
The time to worry about China trade was really when some of my friends up here on the stage actually voted for most favored nation. Now, as president, my most favored nation is America. And I want to say, you know, there was a myth when I was growing up in Cleveland that if you dig a hole deep enough, you'll get to China. We're there. And we need to have a president that understands that and is ready to take a whole new direction in trade with China. Thank you very much. A working person's president. Thank you.
Congressman Kucinich, great thanks. Congressman Kucinich, what do you do if an Iraq post-America and a Kucinich administration is influenced or controlled by al-Qaeda?
Keith, we need to get out of Iraq and get out of Iraq now. And I have a plan to do just that. The Democratic Congress has the ability to tell President Bush, you got $97 billion 6 weeks ago. Use that money to bring the troops home and set in motion an international security and peacekeeping force that would stabilize Iraq. I'm the only one here on the stage who had the vision and the foresight to not only vote against the war, but also vote against funding for the war. People want a president who makes the right decision the first time, and the right decision was never to go in there, and I'm going to get those troops home, and I'll keep the pressure up on the Democratic Congress, and I ask for your help.
Congressman Kucinich, thank you.
I work for Resurrection Hospital in the Chicago area for over 11 years. My co-workers and I have been trying to form a union. Resurrection has challenged us every step of the way. Even 8 of my co-workers has been fired who supported the union. I want to know, what would you do to restore the rights of workers like myself who want to form a union?
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Congressman?
It'll be very easy to predict where I'll come from because I am a member of the AFL-CIO, a Local 600 of the IATSE. I have been working with unions my whole life. The right to organize is a basic right in a democratic society, and in a workers' White House under a Kucinich administration, the right to organize, the right to collective bargaining, the right to strike, the right to decent wages and benefits, the right to a safe workplace, the right to a secure retirement, the right to participate in the political process. These are all basic rights that will be the hallmark of a presidency by Kucinich. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. For Congressman Kucinich from Diana at Cooksville, Tennessee, and she writes, I lost my job last year because the plant closed. I've tried to get a permanent job to get health insurance, but the only thing I can find is temporary, where there is no health insurance. I am 60 years old, too young to retire. We need health care for every citizen in the USA. What can you do about this problem?
I've already introduced the bill. I'm the co-author of a bill, H.R. 676, to provide for universal, single-payer, not-for-profit health care, Medicare for all. Isn't it time to cover every American with a not-for-profit system? Furthermore, 46 million Americans without any health care, 50 million Americans uninsured. You know and I know this is the issue at the bargaining table. With my plan, no more premiums, no more co-pays, no more deductibles. We're already paying for a universal standard of care. We're not getting it. Let's take health care off the bargaining table and put it right in the kitchen where people have the care with a Kucinich plan for universal, single-payer, not-for-profit health care. Thank you.
Congressman Kucinich, thank you.
I'm kind of the Seabiscuit of this campaign. And when I come from behind to win this race, people are going to say, no way we're going to run against this guy. And another reason they're going to say it is because my first month in office, cancel NAFTA and the WTO, trade based on workers' rights, human rights, environmental quality principles, a not-for-profit health care system, saving Social Security, making sure we have universal pre-kindergarten. Let me tell you, when I push through that agenda and establish a workers' White House, they're going to be there to say no competition in 2012. We're ready for Kucinich for 7 years, 8 years. Let's keep going. Make it happen.
Thanks for settling that, Congressman.